Hello to the Primal Sandbox. Like to introduce you to John Pryor. Now, John Pryor and I met at a networking event, and John got a little bit excited when I introduced myself as coming from the Primal Zone and being a health and wellness coach. So, John, I know that you're an IP and you have your own IP and trademark company, but what is it about Primal that piqued your interest? Are you actually a Primaleer?
I don't know whether I'm a Primaleer. I'm certainly very piqued in terms of my interest on Primal, and I've been, well, really developing it since 2014. So what's that, 7 years? And several reasons I got into it. I was doing big athletics, big triathlons at the time, Ironman triathlons. But also I watched my father pass away from Alzheimer's, and he was a very fit guy. And of course, I started to do some research for diet, for exercise, you know, the best diet for an Ironman triathlon, so to speak, and why my father got Alzheimer's disease, and the two actually coincided. So it was very useful. So a couple of really good authors, Mike Sissons, is it?
Mark
Sissons and Brad Kern, and then Professor Tim Noakes from South Africa really got me down this field. Yeah.
And so, did you become Primal based on what you've been reading?
Yeah, so I've always done my motivation is sometime throughout the year, several times, to have a big event to aim for and train for, and that's what normally has kept me ticking over year in, year out, sort of thing. I used to play competitive football, and then when that goes, you look for something else. So I've always been relatively competitive, and so I'm always looking for an edge, possibly, but I'm nowhere near, you know, a world-class athlete, to say the least. But you know, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy competing with my mates, and that's what I do.
Cool.
Yeah. So
cool.
So Professor Tim Noakes, his original book was called The Law of Running, and he was a massive advocate of high carb. You want to run well, you go high carb. And then when he got diabetes, he was a very good runner. He said, well, there's something wrong, and he did all his research, and he switched completely. And he switched completely to Primal. It actually got him into a lot of trouble, but that's another story with the medical profession. But
sure.
Yeah, he sort of led the way. And then reading the book, the Primal Endurance book, just really piqued my interest in terms of what you should be doing by way of it. Diet in particular, but just generally living your life as well.
Sure. So that's what I was going to ask, actually. How are you implementing a Primal lifestyle into your life now, especially diet-wise?
Yeah, so when Ironman triathlon is pretty serious undertaking for me. It's between 12 and 14 hours of continuous exercise.
Wow.
And you need to fuel well to do that, and you need to be pretty well prepared to do it, of course. Mental side is important. But when I first did them, I followed the received wisdom, which was to take on board a lot of glucose, basically, a lot of gels, which are just pure sugar. And they spike your system, so you spike for 20 minutes and you're good. And then you have a low and you need to take another one on board. And so it became really interesting to me that actually I could fuel in capability to generate much better energy. Sorry.
Cool.
I've got a phone call coming in, sorry about that. And so that's when I got into the whole fat burning beast. And when I did my latter triathlons and events, right? I do an event every year. Last year's, well, not in lockdown, the year before was an 8-hour swim run event, for example. I didn't take on board any sugar. And that was fascinating to me, that I previously was kind of addicted to the sugar, and then I could do 8 hours continuous exercise, swimming and running without any sugar. Yes, I did take some carbohydrates. I ate a sandwich, but yeah, it was a very different diet that I did. So I've switched my energy production system, or turned on my natural primal fat burning production system, and that's really changed a lot of how I operate, not just in sport but otherwise as well.
In life as well, yeah. I mean, you've mentioned all these sports and these competitions, and you're obviously a very competitive man, but you also mentioned that you took a step back regarding the intensity of your training. What happened there to make you do that?
Yeah, so the whole Primal Endurance, Mark Sissons, just reading, he was an international close to international standard athlete, and he had a lot of mates on the running and triathlon circuit who were the same. And then when they hit their 50s, some of them started getting heart problems. And of course, the question was, that doesn't make sense. You know, they're extremely fit guys. Why are they getting heart problems? And his sort of theory, which I subscribe to, is if you do what we were genetically, but so primarily, or generationally, or whatever the word is, ancestrally designed to do, then that's the best way to exercise, the best way to live. That's the best way to take on board your food. And of course, yes, we did go hunting and chase down kubu deer, and we did get attacked by saber-toothed tiger, and we did get attacked by a tribesman. But most of the time, it was just a very low level of exercise that you're undertaking, and you weren't going into that red zone maybe 20% of the time. And whereas previously, every time I exercised, I'd go out pretty much full bore. It just sort of changed my view on it altogether, and that you don't need to be. Actually, you can compete at a pretty high level by operating at less than, what is it? This will confuse people, but 180 minus your age in terms of heart rate. Do 80% your exertion at that level, and you can get really fit. Yeah,
absolutely. Less is more, really, isn't it? So you also mentioned that you had some health concerns come up while you were doing very high level training, intense training.
Yeah. So, you know, psychologically, I push through the pain zone. That's what you do, isn't it? And I can remember a time in 2014 when I was training many hours and doing crazy amounts of exercise, and kind of, because I combined it with my commute, because I was a commuter, you know, reaching a point sometimes on the run where I was kind of not able to see. I was seeing black spots and I couldn't see properly. And I'd sort of pull over for a second and sort of slap myself around the face and get on with it, you know. And then I actually developed a cancer, a skin cancer, which wasn't the basic one, wasn't the basal cell carcinoma. It was a squamous cell carcinoma, which, you know, everybody says it's because you spend too much time in the sun, and maybe that was the case. But they said to me, "Where did you grow up?" I said, "I grew up in Sheffield, and it's really sunny in Sheffield." You know, I've been out all the time, and yes, I haven't put sunscreen on, but I think also part of that in my thinking was I was running myself down, and possibly my immune system wasn't able to cope as it might have been if I wasn't so run down, and so. I'm in part at least ascribing that illness to over-exercise and being run down.
Wow. And you mentioned already that Primal has made you look at exercising differently. Are you less competitive? Are you finding that you're enjoying it more and you're enjoying the camaraderie more, maybe?
I think so, Sheila, but I say that with... you know, because I'm not sure I'm ever not competitive, and maybe lockdown has restricted me from competitive environments. But you know, we every year we do, my mates and I, we do a swim run thing, and you're meant to have a partner. You swim and run just for safety with this guy, because it's in the wilds, it's in the mountains, and you're on your own pretty much all day. And this year, because of COVID, they're going to make it a half distance event, but you can run it as an individual. So one of the guys split and said, I want to do it as an individual. And suddenly we're all competing now. We're all against each other. And that's kind of piqued my interest, Sheila. So I'm not saying never or no, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm enjoying exercise now more so. I can go out and do a gentle run with my partner, with my wife, or with my children, and not be sort of looking over my shoulder saying, come on, you know, let's get a move on.
So you've got so it's a bit healthier now. You're training in a healthier way, but your competitive edge is a little healthier as well.
I think so. Yeah.
and maybe we're talking about having fun whilst exercising rather than just focusing on the competition. But you're obviously a sort of person that's always up for a new challenge. And actually, before I move on to this next bit, I just want to say there's a couple of questions that have come through. So Anna in Spain said, what was the hardest part of transitioning to Primal based on the fact that you were training so hard?
Well, you go through that. I'm not sure I went through it properly. What is it? Ketosis. You go through that phase where I can remember waking up because I didn't transition. I just went switch. No carb. And after a week or so, I woke up one night and I was convinced I was my body was eating my brain. I had such bad headaches that I had to sort of take a step back and take some carb on board just to sort of get through that. But yeah, it's a transition, and I tried to do it all at once, and you can't. I couldn't anyway.
No.
And so it's a slow transition. But interestingly enough, I didn't find, energy-wise, there must have been a phase at which I was reliant on one and then switched to the other. I didn't find that was too bad. But I think I was very prepared for it mentally. So I was, you know, if it came, then it came. But I don't remember it being such a problem after all. But amazing. Good. I'm absolutely amazed, because I was a person who was a 3-hour eater. If I didn't have breakfast, I'd have a migraine by midday, and I'd be wasted for the rest of the day. You know, and now I can not have breakfast. I can go out and train for 2 hours, and then eat at lunchtime or even later, and still be fine. And I just find that absolutely
amazing, isn't it? Yeah,
and amazing.
You know?
Brilliant.
So I've also, there's actually some other ones. Someone said, I love Professor Tim Noakes. Also sounds like he has a nice balance now with the competitive spirit. Barbara in the US said, what was the defining moment that made you realise you had to dial back? And I guess you've sort of covered that, but was there a particular defining moment? Was it more to do with your father being ill, or was it?
I don't really know. It's a combination of factors: a little bit of father, a little bit of being ill, a little bit of just growing up, a little bit of reading the book, and getting into Primal, and a little bit of me saying, actually, I'm 56 now. Can I still be doing this when I'm 70 and older? I really want to be still doing this when I'm that age. So I realized that I can't go full bore, because I'm going to get, whatever injuries, I'm going to wear myself out in some stage. So I want to elongate my fun from exercise and try and maintain strength, mobility, endurance, flexibility, and so on into the later years. So there's a little bit of that thinking more than anything, I think. Sure.
Okay, that's cool. So moving on to the next part of this is, I mentioned earlier about that you strike me as the sort of person that's always up for a new challenge. Well, you've already said this already this evening, and I know that we've chatted about our own stories of adventures over the years. Both of us have been to the Himalayas, and we've done lots of exciting things. And I was going to ask what your latest challenge is, and actually I know what it is. I can't wait to hear about it. But tell us about your foray into Northern Soul Dance. What's it all about?
Well, Northern Soul dancing, I mean, for the non-English people, actually for most people, it'd be something nobody really knows what it is. It's a certain, you'll probably know the genre of music better than I do. Move On Up is one of the great tracks, but it's got soul, so it's Northern Soul. It's from the UK. It's probably American soul translated into English, and it's a kind of dance that actually was very, very popular some 40 years ago when I was growing up. And it was popular because it was kind of an all-night dance, really, an all-night disco, and particularly in northern casinos, dance halls, or whatever. But the reason I was sort of drawn to it is going through the phases I've just been talking about. I was thinking of there must be ways of having exercise and enjoying it and having a lot of fun. I sat down and I watched a bunch of runners do laps on the River Thames once. I was watching my daughter row, and I looked at them all. I thought, you all look really sad. You're all out exercising. Nobody's smiling. Nobody's chatting. Nobody's having fun. And I thought, that's probably not good either. So I'm all about now trying to find something I can have fun at and get that, get out of breath, get some strength and mobility and flex training. So I came across the idea of just dancing. Why not? Dancing. I like dancing. I'm not very good at dancing, but I like dancing.
2 left feet dancing.
Yeah. But in lockdown, you get the music on and you've got a bit of space and you dance, and it's great exercise, and why not? And Northern Soul is a bit of shuffle. I mean, I challenge anybody not to Google Northern Soul, Sal and Pops, and see those two girls just have fun while they're dancing. And then when you get to the more serious stuff, they throw in a little bit of what I would now call break dancing. They throw in some moves. And clearly I have no chance or no clue of actually doing any of those, anything like half professionally. But It just it's a little bit of a workout as well as a dance, and dancing can be workout. It can be fun at the same time. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to.
So how far into it have you got so far? How many steps have you mastered? And
I'm not. Sheila, I don't learn that way. I learn by doing. So I mean,
oh, okay.
I look at those videos and I go, "Oh, that's a bit hard." And then I'll try a few moves and see what happens. So ask me in 6 months. I'm really enjoying it though. It's great fun.
Good. Oh no, it's inspiring. I know you've sent me a couple of links through to videos, and you can try it out myself. I've definitely got 2 left feet. Actually, I was talking to somebody earlier who couldn't be on the call tonight, but he actually said that he used to have a factory in Wigan.
Oh, wow.
They used to have do ladies' clothes and things like that, but they also used to do the Northern Soul badges. They used to make the badges that people then used to sew onto their jackets. So he totally got the Northern Soul vibe, and he used to have the Northern Soul music playing as well in the background. I mean, that's just fun, isn't it? That's exercising and having fun at the same time.
It's fun. And it's a reaction for me to lockdown as well. It's like I'm coming out of lockdown. I want to see all my friends. I want to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Come round to my house on a Friday night and we'll finish at midday on Saturday. I don't care. We'll just have fun.
Fantastic. Now, I know that you've got to rush off this evening because is it rugby training you've got?
Yeah, I've recently joined, we call it the old gits, the old blokes rugby training. So thoroughly enjoying
Are you coaching them, or are you part of it?
Partaking. It's like circuit training with a bunch of guys who enjoy having a laugh but work hard. And you work hard, not as hard as whatever injuries you've got. You step out for that one, but you get stuck in. It's really good. Really enjoying it.
Good. So before you go, if people are on the fence about making changes, whether it's dietary, it's movement, it's having fun and picking up a new hobby, what would you say about having a coach to guide and keep accountable, and but more importantly, the benefits of a primal lifestyle? What would you say about that?
Oh man, it's manifold. This is a multifactorial answer. I mean, the coaching aspect is absolutely essential to do it right and do it in a reasonable time frame. But it's so difficult to motivate yourself and to keep on track, because you, Sheila, have been on this for a long time. I've been researching it in my own way for 7 years now, and there's a lot to pick up. But it's all about if people are interested in living life to the fullest possible, without getting struck down. I mean, we haven't talked about the medical aspect. One of the reasons I got into it is because of Alzheimer's. Insulin resistance is the cause of loads of metabolic problems, cardiac disease, brain disease, possibly arthritis related, diabetes, of course, etc. And essentially it leads to a half-filled life, or a part-filled life if you're suffering from those complaints. So that's why it is so important to me. And to anybody, I mean, I probably am a little bit of an evangelist, but my experience is that it's quite awesome. It makes logical sense. I studied biochemistry and physiology as a BSc, an undergrad, and I have some understanding of this area, and I think it's logical. And,
it makes sense, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And it's the saying, it's about thriving, not just surviving.
Absolutely. It's about live long and die. That's your phrase.
Yeah, totally. Live long, drop dead, Mark Sisson says.
Live long, yeah, live well. Live well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So before you go, I've got a couple of other comments that have just come in. Well, the power of Primal, Anna in Spain said. Anna in Spain also said, great interview. I want him to be doing Zumba next.
I'm up for Zumba, whatever it is. I've no idea what it is.
We'll teach you. And Barbara says he looks fantastic at 56. And you do. You look incredible. Inspirational. So...
Yeah. Well, it's all down to what I'm doing. The Primal. I would probably be worn out if I wasn't doing Primal. To be honest, I'd probably be
totally
overly done.
Totally.
Injured, so, yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. I knew it was going to be a fun one. So go and enjoy your rugby.
Always a pleasure, Sheila. Always a pleasure, and thank you ever so much for having me. And,
no, you're welcome. You're welcome, and I will speak to you soon.
All right. Take care. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.